do. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So the student or Purva Pakshi, whichever, we don't know who, asked the question. What was the question? Katham tadring maya grahyah, katham tadring maya grahyah, sarva iti chet maiva grihyatam, iti chet maiva grihyatam, sarvagrahopasam shantau, sarvagrahopasam shantau, swayameva vashishyate, swayameva vashishyate, na tatra manapekshasti, na tatra manapekshasti, svaprakasha swarupataha, svaprakasha swarupataha, tadrigvyutpatyapeksha chet, tadrigvyutpatyapeksha chet. Yeah, very nice. Tadrigvyutpatyapeksha chet, tadrigvyutpatyapeksha chet, shrutim patha gurur mukhat, shrutim patha gurur mukhat, yadi sarvagrahatyagah, yadi sarvagrahatyagah, ashakyastarhi dhiyam vraja, ashakyastarhi dhiyam vraja, sharanam tadadhinontaha, sharanam tadadhinontaha, bahirvaishonubhuyatam, bahirvaishonubhuyatam. Yeah, so the student or the Purva Pakshi, asks a question. And of course, whenever there is a question, it is in our favor because it deepens the understanding. That is how one, these are our sparring partners. Most of them live in our minds. And so they are just externalized here just for the fun of it, so that you can, you can biff them and strengthen your own engagement with the knowledge. So that's the whole idea. So what is the question here? If it's a student, this student is the bane of every guru. Yeah. Gurus also have prarabdha, right? Yeah, they fall sick and, they get lost sometimes and, things like that happen to them. And so Guru also has prarabdha, and this is definitely Guru's prarabdha. This is the bane of every student, that at the end of the chapter, at the end of the Upanishad, there is this kind of a question. When the student is being told to let go, the student is holding on tight and asking the question, Katham tadrig maya grahyah. How to grasp, the teaching was to let go, correct? Let go because it's you. And the student says, at least if the question was how to let go, theek hai, we can answer that. But here, the student is asking how to catch Atma. The catcher is you. Yes, but I want to be caught. This is what is called spiritual romanticism. The savior mentality. Everybody has this inner, deep desire to be lifted out of samsara, somebody to come and save. And that's how many religions are made. Yeah. And somebody appoints themselves as your savior also. Yeah. And this is the problem. So here, our contention, it's not a contention, it's the truth of the self. Our, the whole basis of our understanding is that you were never enslaved to be saved. Like the story of the brahmachari who lost the ropes to tie the cows, the cattle. And what does the teacher say? Pretend to tie them, and they all sat down there. After he went to each one and went like this, because all the ropes were stolen. Correct? And then what? Even without ropes, there was aropa. Yeah. This time the cow is doing the aropa. What is the aropa? I am bound. I can't move. And the next day, none of them is going to the water. No one. Not a single one. They're all standing there and the brahmachari is astounded. Come on, you're free, go. They are taking the beating and dodging and they're not going. So what does this mean? This is what the whole thing is like this, is that you are never bound. If there is a feeling of bondage, it is what? Avichara krito bandhaha vicharena nivartate. Where did we hear that? Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, 5th verse right here. Yeah, not Bhagavad Gita, okay? Yeah. So then what was I saying? This is the bane of every guru, because gurus also have prarabdha. And sometimes they come in the form of these kinds of students, and the karma of the guru is expressing itself here. And so, because the student or the Purva Pakshi, whoever it is, wanting to catch something that is that first A cannot be caught and B need not be caught. Why? Because it is the nature of the catcher of everything else. That is what we are talking about. That is what is beyond the mind. Beyond the mind doesn't mean beyond the ken of my knowledge. Beyond the mind means beyond the means of knowledge is accessible to me. And that was all explained earlier. So therefore you need a new means of knowledge, which is Vedanta Shastra. This is what has to be understood. And then, so he says that Katham iti chet, if the student or the person asks the teacher, how do I get this? How do I grasp this? And the teacher says, may it not be grasped by you. He's playing on the word grasp. Because obviously you don't have a grasp of this. That's why you're trying to grasp it. That's a pun, Yeah, even he's also making a lot of puns. Yeah. You didn't get a grasp of it. That's why you're grasping at thin air, trying to hold the Atma and see what it feels like and how to touch it and how to pet it. That's your problem. Maiva grihyatam. May it not be grasped by you. And the teacher in the final attempt says that sarva graha upasamshanta. When all this clawing and the pawing attempts at Atma in order to find out what this Atma is as an object, when all these failed attempts, at trying to objectify the Atma come to rest. Yeah. So you're sick of grasping and then you gasp because you cannot grasp anymore, and that last gasp of helplessness, hopelessness is actually a turning point in your spiritual journey. It's not a bad helplessness. It's the ahankara, the I notion that finally comes to rest as the knower. It doesn't try to keep saying that I want to know the knower as an object, because it, either it understands that as an impossibility or it just plain gives up. And this is a good giving up. Yeah. This is a very good giving up. This is not the same giving up as stopping attending classes. That's a different giving up. That's a different giving up. That's despair and helplessness and hopelessness, of the unconscious overlaid on the present situation of the pursuit of knowledge. Here the pursuit of trying to objectify the I is given up. Sarva graha upasamshantau. When that clutching is let go of, when there is unclutching in the matter of trying to control the Atma, when the knower resolves. When does the knower resolve? The knower resolves when the knower knows, I am no longer in control. So when the knower resolves, what remains? Zero. Shunya. Because knower has gone. Knower is equal to self. Self has gone, therefore no self prevails. Oh, I am no self? That's actually very sad. So, here what we say is what remains is that I which morphs into as though knower and as though known without being either. It sustains the knower, it sustains the known, it's neither knower nor known. It's neither subject nor object. In relation to object, it is called Sakshi, witness. That's all it is. And what is Sakshya? Sakshyam, that which is witnessed, is not separate from it. The Sakshya resolves into Sakshi. Sakshi doesn't resolve into anything. This is the truth, and so therefore what? The knower resolves trying to grasp at it as an object. It's that moment, where there is a resolution of the one who is trying to control everything. Because that is what the Ahankara does. Ahankara loves to be in control and of everything and everybody and all situations. And then, what do you mean I cannot objectify the I? Of course I can objectify. And even if you say I can't, I'm definitely going to try. Okay, try. And the person comes back tired, exhausted. And the teacher says, when there is nothing more to grasp at, then the ungraspable Atma rises like the moon. Oh, you mean to say it wasn't there? No, it was there. But your Ahankara was shining like the sun and it couldn't be seen. Wasn't it the moon rose? Moon was there. But your sense of control and trying to grasp everything, you overshadowed this Atma, so to speak. It's like that. What is that called? You're trying to take a photo and something runs across. Photo bombing. That's what it was. You're trying to photo bomb. The Ahankara is trying to photo bomb this process of understanding. That which never needs to be. You're not trying to catch a selfie. It is the self, and the self doesn't have to be caught because it is self-evident. It is self-evident. So since you were all over the place, shining like the sun, poor Atma went into the corner and said, after you set upasarva graha upasam shantau, then swayameva vartate, it remains by itself. Parishishyate, what remains, poor thing, what remains is the Atma. Is it a residue? No, but to this Ahankara, this is how it is explained. You are photobombing the whole situation. Get out of the way, you are in the way. You are like Rahu, Who? Rahu, that's who. Rahu and Ketu are these fictitious planets representing the shadow self. And in this ocean churning business, they churned one side the Devatas, another side the, what is that? Asuras. And poor snake, that's when SPCA was formed. Vasuki, the snake being used as a churning rod. And the Devatas tricked the Asuras. Who wants to be at the head? We. So they were asked to hold the head of the snake. It was so poisonous that half of them were fainting as they were pulling. Each time it exhaled. A few of them would either go into coma or, syncope. And then what? There also there were some casualties because the Devatas were holding their tail and the tail was lashing out at a few of them. And then what? So they were going like this, the Devas, Asuras, trying to do this. Then a lot of horrible things came out. that poison came out. Hala hala. That is the collective unconscious. Nobody could handle it except Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva said, I will neutralize it. And he neutralizes it. And remember the snake, because of which all the asuras are toxic, but the snake was so toxic that the asuras were fainting each time it exhaled. And when hala hala poison came out, it was so toxic that the poor snake itself fainted and had to be revived with a hanky. So this is the situation, how toxic it was. And that unconscious was neutralized. Which means that, when I surrender to the Lord as that source of auspiciousness, the unconscious is neutralized. And then what happened? Then the knowledge of immortality symbolized in a kalasha, in a pot of amritam came out. And then, of course, all the asuras lined up first, because they had done their, to give them credit, they had done a little bit of pulling and churning. They had churned the whole ocean. But obviously, you cannot give them this amrita, correct? If you give them, then, it's just awful. It's like, supporting 1,000 Hitlers at once. You cannot do that. And so, of course, Vishnu comes to the rescue, and Vishnu dresses up as a beautiful damsel, Mohini. Come along, boys, And she just goes, they all follow, except for this one asura. Hangs back, because he knows it's a trick. Hangs back, puts some vibhuti, everywhere. Looks like a zebra when he's done. And then he sits down, and then he's about to drink. Everybody is getting a helping of this knowledge of immortality, and he's about to drink it. In fact, he drinks one drop before he is discovered as an asura and ousted from there. And in fact, Vishnu, even though she is, she has some other pot of just placebo effect, amritam, and she's, dealing with them, but she knows, Vishnu knows that, trouble is there in paradise. And then she, with her maya, with her mayic powers, takes him out, literally, and then, sends the chakra. What happens when the chakra is sent? What happens? Decapitation. That's what happens, And so then what happens is that, and then the blood falls on the ground, and then since they are asuras, they never die. Like the devas are immortal, kind of, relatively speaking. These two also permanently circulate our horoscopes, really, in the form of the shadow self. This is what the whole thing is. Shadow selves, different aspects. One is all head, Rahu, and the other one is all tail, Ketu, and they are hilarious, Yeah. And you see there is all, but they are immortal because they had a sip of this. Not enough to transform them completely, but enough to make them a permanent foothold in every jiva's life. So, therefore, what happened is that, so it is a metaphor, it's an allegory of the unconscious. The unconscious need not be destroyed, it has to be managed and overcome. So that's the whole thing. And so the Rahu is all head, ahankara, always trying to get ahead, give me this, give me that, never satisfied. And the Ketu, whatever is given will be destroyed. This is a pair of them. And in the personal horoscope, they are always 6 houses apart. If Rahu is in the first house, Ketu will be in the 7th house. If Rahu is in 2nd, Ketu is in 8th, like that. And really, you cannot have a good placement of both of them. If one is good, the other one is going to undercut all the benefits of that. So this just symbolizes the shadow part of the ahankara, and overcoming that is the life's lesson of even to study Vedanta. A little bit of overcoming that and settling that is needed. So that's why everything from yoga to all kinds of things, therapy, yoga, whatever is needed to settle the Rahu Ketu within, So as long as Rahu is there, the sun is eclipsed, correct? And then you say, oh, I cannot see the sun. And that's why we have a wonderful verse. Rahu grastha divakarenda indu sadrisho maya samachhadanat sanmatrah karanopasamharanatah yo bhuhu sushuptah puman yo bhut sushuptah puman. So this is what the whole teaching is. Like even the disk of the moon which overshadows the sun, which makes me feel like it's all dark, same way the ahankara overshadows this knowledge. This knowledge is not something given from outside. What this pramana, the means of knowledge, does is to remove the doubts. That's all it does. It removes the doubt by declaring that you are infinite. And that declaration is through just 3 words. That's what we were discussing last time. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam or Satchidananda. How these words operate. And these words don't operate like the words in the language itself. Because the words in the language, either they are subjects or they are objects, they are also subject to duality. Correct? Because they are either actions, words, words that describe actions, verbs or adjectives, etc. But how to define this Brahman, which is beyond all those adjectives and attributes, and therefore a very unique way of deploying this understanding has been, found out in the Upanishads because of the tapas of the rishis. And it is very unique because the word is taken in its own sense. Sat, not as a qualifier of existence, but as existence itself. It is called bhava sadhana. It is in the most abstract sense. Jnanam, knowledge. Knowledge means what? Does it include the knower? Yes. Does it include the known? Yes. Does it include the means of knowledge deployed? Does it include the pramana? Yes. But then, what is Brahman? Is it the knower? No. Is it the known? No. Is it a means of knowledge? No. Where should I go now? Yeah. It is Jnapti Swarupa. That is what is the abstraction. Jnapti means knowledge. Because the Jna plus Anam. Anam means it's a particular suffix called Lyut. Why did Lyut become Anam? Because of a sutra. Yeah. Yuvoranaka. Yuvoranakau. There is a sutra. And so, everything that is you becomes Ana. So, where is you in Lyut? That you. Lyut. Yeah, because of that it becomes Ana. Jna plus Lyut should have been Jnalu, but no. It is, the substitution is given. So therefore it becomes Jna plus Anam, Jnanam. And very funny thing about this Anam. This Anam, there is another sutra which says whenever that Lyut is used, it is used in many ways. It can be Jnayate iti Jnanam, that which is known, Jnanam. And then Jnayate anena as a karana, as a means of knowledge, Jnanam. So it could be knower, Jnanam, Jnata iti Jnanam, Jnayam iti Jnanam. Because this Lyut has the sense of Bahulyam, many different usages. And so therefore what? Therefore here, in what sense is it used? It is used in its own sense, bhavarthe. It is used in its own sense of neither the knower nor the known, but that which is the truth and the content of the knower known, without which the knower cannot exist, without which the known cannot operate, without which any means of knowledge is useless. So that truth, which is that sentiency, that sentience which is the nature of myself, is understood. Same thing Anantam. Anantam is what? Swajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata Bheda Rahitam. That which is without any kind of suffocating. by another thing like itself, any divisions within itself, or even, something unlike itself. It is not overpowered in any way. So in fact, we don't need 3 words. 1 word is enough. Sat is enough. And that's what is used in the Chandogya Upanishad. Sat. Tat Sat. Tat Sat. Sa Atma. Tvamasi Shvetaketu. There the teacher, Uddalaka, only uses 1 word Sat to explain the whole thing. Or you can just use Jnanam. Enough. Or you can use Anantam, because that Anantam has to include I. Otherwise it's not limitless. And so, why are 3 words given? Just so that there is more scope for understanding. If there is a block to Sat, Jnanam will, do some Spuranam there. And then if there is, and if there is a block to Jnanam and Sat, Anantam might talk like this, Based on one's own ragadveshas. One may go to certain ways. More drawn to certain ways of, certain words in the Upanishads. And sometimes people are more drawn to certain Upanishads. Oh, I don't like Kathopanishad. What is there not to like? It's you. It's you. No, such a boring story, Nachiketa and all these things. I don't like stories. I want to go directly to the knowledge. That's why I like Ishavasya Upanishad. Because it goes straight to the knowledge. That's what you think. Yeah, wait till you study the whole thing. Yeah. Pujya Swamiji would never teach it even. Yeah, he would say this is not, nothing will happen if you don't learn it, because the word Vidya is used in 5 different ways. Vidya meditation, Vidya knowledge, Vidya preparation, like this. It's very, very, very confusing. Not for the faint of heart, okay? But still people have these preferences. People say that, I don't like this, too abstract, I don't like this, too concrete. And so therefore, 3 words, 13 words, 300 words, because it's all you. In fact, it is the truth of all words. So you can deploy infinite number of words and still, what should I say, reveal this Atma. Or you can deploy just 1 word or 3, it doesn't matter, because what we are talking about is the limitless. So that's how it operates. When we say it is beyond the mind, it is beyond the mind as an object, not as a subject. Because the mind comes back all tired, yeah, all sweaty and tired, then it goes and takes a shower, then it is ready to do business again, and then it becomes a little more pliable, this mind. And then it, instead of saying, I know it, all I know it, I'm going to try to know it, I'm going to know it, I'm going to get it, I'm going to package it, and I'm going to become rich, because I have Atma now. Everybody wants a piece of it, so I'm going to become rich. Instead of saying that, now it says, Sarvagraha Samshantau. All attempts of graha, all attempts of trying to get at it without really dismantling the knower is of no use. Very sad, it goes and sits in a corner and it cries, nobody loves me, nobody wants me. And that is when you have to tell the mind, come back. Yeah. In a strange way, it is like the ceremony of sannyasa, Yeah, it is similar. Except, when the sannyasi, when the person taking sannyasa is not giving up everything because nobody wants him or her, nobody loves him or her. That's not the reason. That's because of vairagya, correct? Yeah. But there is a ritual where the teacher or the teacher's other students, Guru Bhais and Guru Behens, call this person, come back. You're leaving everything, including your clothes. You come back, take this set of orange clothes and be as a beacon of knowledge and service to the society, be of some use here. So then they are brought back, and given a new birth, a new name, yes, a new title and a new way of being, which is completely different from their old life, That is why the sannyasa is a new birth. So you don't ask the sannyasi, so where did you go to school? What did you do? all this, it's irrelevant. Because it's like, just like you don't ask somebody about their last birth. So how many sisters and brothers you had? Oh, now? No, in your last but previous to last, second last birth. Who knows? Who cares? Correct? And thank God there is a big veil of Maya, because otherwise how many people to be beholden to? Already there is so much guilt. Already there is so much fear. And if you remembered if you remembered your life as a dog, all the puppies you abandoned, even before they were ready to be weaned, you just abandoned them, beat them, and left them on the street. And went away, because you were a dog. And imagine, now in the human mind, you have so much guilt about that life. If you remembered all of them, then you will be looking for all those puppies, and those puppies may be in human bodies now. You don't know. Where will you go, And then you will put a Facebook post looking for puppies from 4 lifetimes ago. Please help find these puppies. And, people do this, adopted people, sometimes they trace their biological parents, and this is that at least is feasible, but this is not feasible. So here in sannyasa what happens is that there is a deliberate, here it's not that nature or Maya is blocking the previous life. The knowledge itself blots out the previous life. There is no connection. One may have been the CEO of a company, one may have been very big, important person, but all that is given up. Right now, every day, fresh, now here, I am. This is what it is. So the mind, of course, the starting point is different. The mind is not saying, I'm going to get Vairagya. No, what is the mind saying here? The mind is saying, I have given up. But it is similar here. There is a giving up. Of course, in this giving up, practically everything had to be wrested from this ahankara / mind / buddhi. I'm using it all as one. Everything has to be snatched from it because it's not getting at the Atma. The Atma is elusive because it is not an object, it's you. So the mind is looking for it everywhere else except where it is, which is its own truth. And so it gives up. It also takes like a mini sannyasa. But then because it is really not enlightened, it sits in a corner and cries. And then what? Then the mind has to be brought back in a servile capacity. Please be of service to this knowledge. Before it was king. It was wearing a crown and nice blue, purple robes. And, it had a pointing finger and it would point and name everything and everybody. It would have a lot of fun. And now, what? The pointing finger is first bent. And then it is, repatriated to the whole. This is, what is that? VSL, Vedanta Sign Language, for you are the whole. That's what it is. This pointing finger, I notion, which thought it was the body, mind, sense complex, these three, it was always hanging out, identified with these. But really speaking, it is this odd one out, the thumb, which doesn't participate in anything, which upholds everything without participating anything. So you are not any of these, you are this. The mind is going to be taught now. But finally it is ready for teaching. So ahankara is bending in a prahvi bhava. Prahvi bhava means it's ready to do namaskar from a place of giving up. It's ready to do namaskara. It's ready to, in other words, surrender. And this surrender is grasped very beautifully here. Sarva graha upasamshantau. Sarvopagraha, sarva graha upasamshantau. Shanti, shantau, 7th case. So when, 7th case used in the sense of when the mind stops trying to figure it out, it gives up, it feels unwanted, it feels upset, it feels frustrated with itself, that's when it is ushered in back by the Sakshi. It is talked to nicely and brought him back in a servile capacity. Come and be of service. You are not the agent. So it had a crown, its robe is wrested off from it, its crown is taken away from it, and it's given a costume of what? A servant's costume. Yeah. It has to keep saying, Haji, Haji, yes, 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 sir, yes, madam, yes, sir. It has to just keep saying, yes, it is no longer the agent of knowledge, but it is refined, it's a refined receptacle, a place where the knowledge shines. That's what it is reduced to. It is reduced to a patram. That's what it is. Yeah. And to pun on that, before it was apatra. Apatra means not deserving of this knowledge. From patram means vessel, patram also means deserving, patra. First it was apatra, now it has become patram. So this is what he describes, and very lofty words, beautifully said. And he says, the teacher here is saying, sarvagraha upasamshantau, when all this grasping is in the cessation to objectify all these things, what remains, what remains is you, Sakshi. It is neither idam vritti that we have studied, nor aham vritti, correct? This aham vritti is bopped on the head, and that's the one that is stopped searching for it in the wrong way that it was. And then what remains is the truth, the I, which is neither aham nor idam, and without this sakshi, neither idam nor aham can come out and play. In fact, it is the truth, the content of aham and idam, without being either idam or aham. And this is what is talked about. And then further, he says, na tatra manapekshaha asti, manapeksha nasti, mana apeksha necessity. Okay? And na tatra means with regard to this knowledge, in the matter of this knowledge, tasmin brahmani, tatra used in the seventh case. Saptamyas tral, that is what it is. So, used in the seventh case, na tatra, not in this situation, with regard to the parasmai brahmani, in this Brahman, in the matter of Brahman, in the matter of Atma, mana apeksha nasti, mana apeksha, the necessity for a means of knowledge is not there. Wait a minute. What do you mean? All this time you have kept telling us that Vedanta is a means of knowledge. So happily you taught the whole chapter, and towards the end now you are contradicting and you are saying Vedanta is not a means of knowledge, and in fact to know yourself you don't need a means of knowledge. Now if I had known this, I would have never signed up for this course. What a waste of time. First I considered this as a means of knowledge, and now I am awake to the fact that it is no longer a means of knowledge. What is this? Well, it's a means of knowledge to get rid of all the wrong assumptions surrounding the self. It is not a means of knowledge that is needed to objectify the self, because that self alone objectifies everything else. It's like showing a flashlight to the sun. Somebody has come from Mars, let us say, and they don't know anything about the earth, so let me show you the sun. Sun, where? Just follow this flashlight. So, in fact, it's the sun that is shining light. It is enabling the flashlight to be seen. Correct? In fact, the battery is a very pale imitation of the sun. From the sun we got this idea of battery. Correct? And even though the battery advertises itself as one that keeps going and going and going, it doesn't keep going and going and going. It goes away. You keep going and going and going to the store to keep buying new batteries. It doesn't keep going and going. The sun also, the sun we can say in relation to the battery, the sun keeps going and going. From the standpoint of the Atma, the sun also doesn't keep going and going. That's why we have all these dwarfs. You see one Hubble photograph, and red dwarf, yellow dwarf, orange dwarf, blue dwarf, all these previous suns, 2 billion light years ago, 3 billion light years ago, all these suns were there. They were bigger than this sun, and they had a glorious trajectory. They terrorized a few planets they had under their control. And then what are they now? Just little blue dots, reduced, cooling down. So you see, so like this, from the standpoint of the Atma, sun also is finite. But for the sake of the example, just like you don't need to hold a flashlight to the sun because it is self-illumining, so too here, this is self-evident. When something is self-evident, you don't need to show that you exist. You don't need a certificate of existence. Do you exist? I think, let me get back to you on that. Nobody says that. Nobody who is abnormally normal. Yeah. That's what we fall under the category. Either normally abnormal or abnormally normal. That is who Vedanta is for. Yeah. Normally normal, you don't need Vedanta, you already have it. And abnormally abnormal, few other steps are needed. Before. Psychotherapy, many years of it before Vedanta can work, So this is for garden variety abnormality, this is what it is, And this is for the majority of the people. But then, there is no problem in grasping that this eye doesn't need a flashlight to show itself, it simply is. And it is evident to me. I am evident to me. And I can never be evident to you. I'm only evident to me. Oh, that's not fair. But I do see you. Yeah, you see the Swami sitting. You don't see Swami. You see the body. No, but I can read your mind. I'm psychic. I know what you're thinking of next. Well, that means what? You can objectify my mind. You can objectify my body. You can objectify my senses. And if you know, what were we talking about last time? This auric photography. Auric photography, if you can see auras. You can objectify sukshma shariram. Yeah, subtle body. All that is still an object. It's not the subject. It cannot be a standing for the Atma. There is no subtle body without Atma, but Atma is not the subtle body. And so, when, so natatra manapeksha asti, this is something so evident that it does not require a means of knowledge. So why is Vedanta a means of knowledge? It is to remove the ignorance surrounding your existence. That you exist is not in question. Just don't, are you here? Yes. What is that? Yes. Okay. But don't ask the next question, who are you? How are you? That, then one time, I was sitting next to somebody and just my seatmate on the plane, and she just said, how are you? So I also asked, how are you? And then she said, how much time you got? How much time do you have to find out how I really am? And it was a 2-hour flight, and even after we landed, the story wasn't finished. Yeah, so she had a lot to say. So that means that there is all these conclusions about the I that have been, quote unquote, superimposed upon this I. This is very important to know this, because it's only, upon something that is existent can a superimposition take place. You cannot see a snake on a non-existent rope. Can you do that? Show some signs of life. Yeah, you can't do that. On a non-existent rope, can you project a snake? No, but it was a hose pipe. But doesn't matter. Meaning the adhisthana, the basis of this, there is something has to be existent before it is mistaken. And this is in fact, hotly debated in the Brahma Sutra, the first Brahma Sutra itself. All the Purva Pakshis don't let you go any further. And here's how the argument runs. It says, this is a very tricky, sneaky argument. The argument is so involved. It says that, look, only on an existent thing can a mistake be superimposed. In other words, rope has to be there, hosepipe has to be there, a string has to be there in order to be confused for a snake. But what are you telling us about the Atma? Atma doesn't, is not objectifiable, like even a snake, like even a piece of thread, like even a hosepipe. So then, how can it be in the clutches of a mistake? On a non-objectifiable thing, mistake is not possible. Yeah. And that's what Adi Shankara, argues this beautifully. Puro avasthite vishayehi adhyasyanti janaha. So, all the people, the lokaha, all the people make a mistake on puraha avasthitaha vishayaha. So, centered on that which is right in front of you, meaning which is objectifiable, then only a mistake can be made. For this non-objectifiable Atma, how are you claiming that it's an error? In other words, what if your Swarupa is misery? Why not say that? And to these, people we have to say, it doesn't have to be, puro avasthita vishaya. It doesn't have to be something that is evident as an object. It just has to be evident. It has to be existent enough. And that existence has to be evident to me. And that existence of I is evident to me. So the Atma, poor Atma, becomes a sitting duck for all kinds of mistakes. I am. Up till then we are in a safe zone. After that what? I'm an idiot. I'm a donkey. I can't do anything right. I'm a perfectionist. I'm tall, I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm short. Body dharma attributed to Atma. Mano dharma, like what? I'm restless, I'm angry. Prana dharma, pranic dharma, like what? I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. And then what? All the purusharthas. I'm a great seeker. All these things. I'm a doer, karta, kartritvam and bhoktritvam. So the list is endless. It can be as infinite as the Atma itself. That's why the finite is mistaken for the infinite. And so the I becomes a carrier for all kinds of wrong understanding of the I, wrong definitions. So therefore the I is defined lakshanaya, through lakshana, not through vachyartha, because the vachyartha means the direct meaning of words, yield only objects. Lakshana, the indirect meaning. And this we have even an example everywhere. Bring me that red. What red? You can't bring the color red. Maybe it's an apple, maybe it's a ball, but everybody knows. So therefore they say, bring me that red. Here there is an elision. You do, without naming the thing, you are describing it. So it is an example of a kind of lakshana, ajaha lakshana. Bring me the red t-shirt. Bring me the red ball. So something is there, so there you have to bring something in order to illustrate that. You have to, it's not directly spoken, it's indirect speech. Indirect speech to illustrate that which is directly evident as me. That is what is lakshana. It's not an adjective. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, they are not adjectives such as big blue lily, big blue fragrant lily. They are not adjectives. Here in the lily pond, there are many lilies, bring me the blue one. Bring me the big blue one. Many blue lilies, bring me the biggest one. And then bring me the most fragrant one. Big blue fragrant lily. It's not like that. Sat, Chit, Ananda, no. They are not adjectival. They are lakshana. They don't yield the direct meaning of the word. But they are indirectly understood, because what they are alluding to, which is you, is self-evident. It is already there and it is known. What it is not known. That is what is supplied. Because all the other wrong rumors about who I think I am are dropped in the wake of this knowledge. That is how it, functions. That's how it functions, And so Jahal Lakshana, you give. Jahat means you give up. What do you give up? I am an idiot. Idiocy is given up. Donkeyness is given up. Perfectionism is given up. Body dharma is given up. Mind dharma is given up. And Ajahal Lakshana, what remains? Shishyate. What is that? Satchidananda. Satchidananda is not the adjective of Atma. It just indicate. They are indicatory words that indicate the Atma, but don't take you all the way. Oh, they don't take me all the way because you are self-evident. They don't need to objectify, because it cannot be objectified, it need not be objectified. So, natatra manapeksha asti. To show that you exist, you don't need a means of knowledge. The means of knowledge is only to drop the notions, says the teacher. And why the hetu is given here in this tasihi, in this swarupataha, that is, in the fifth case, swaprakasha swarupataha, on account of it being self-evident. Swaprakasha, swayam prakasha, it is self-evident, and so therefore it doesn't need a flashlight, it doesn't need to be shown. No, but I really want, but how to understand that I am self-evident? I told you, this fellow is the bane of every guru. Yeah. I know I'm self-evident, but how to experience self-evidence? What? The questioner is self-evident. The question you're asking is itself self-evident. It's like, when you come into the whole situation with a lot of notions, very difficult to understand. That's why, I told you this last time, that theologians from other traditions find this very difficult to understand. I also gave a new meaning of the word theology. What is that? Where the logic is safely with Theo, with God. It's not with a person, not with a person at all. Because there's no thinking, there's just all these notions coming in the way, and here too the student is having a similar difficulty. Ancient student, having a similar difficulty because unwilling or unable to let go of those notions, and so saying that, how to experience the experienced self. What you are experiencing is the self. It's like that person who had some kind of a psychological disorder. He thought he was dead. And everybody convinced him. And every mealtime they would say, dead people don't eat. You are eating for two, so therefore you are alive. And you know what he would say? This dead person eats. Don't worry. No. And then finally one of his friends got so upset and so frustrated, took a pin and pricked his finger and drew some blood and, see, you are bleeding. That means you are alive. No, that's not what it means. What does it mean? Dead people can also bleed. You see, if you are convinced of something, you will not drop it. And here the one who is holding has to be dropped. Yeah. That knower has to be dismantled, dethroned and taken out of the equation. Suffocated and put in a dungeon briefly until this, put out of commission until all these wrong conclusions are, which the knower is holding on to, are just released, free. Then the knower says, oh, thank you. I needed to be locked up from myself. Exactly. This is what it is. You are in your own way. Get out of the way. When should I get out? Now. And the teacher says, Tadrig Vyutpatti Apeksha Chet. Apeksha means if you feel the necessity of really pursuing how to experience the self-evident self, Patha Shastram Guru Mukhat. Yeah, please go study with a teacher. Shastram here, what does he say? Shruti or Shastram? Shrutim. Shrutim patha. Shruti here means Shravanam. Go and listen to a teacher. Directly from the, from the mouth of a teacher. But I thought that's what I was doing with you. Obviously, it has had no effect. So are you telling me to go to another teacher? I'm just telling you I have not been of much use. So perhaps another teacher will have better luck. You will have better luck with another teacher. The teacher is being honest. Because after 25 verses, if you get 25, after how many? 9 chapters and 25 verses, if you haven't understood, then something is beyond. You are beyond me, or I am beyond you. We don't know which. You are thinking Atma is beyond, but really, what is beyond is our dynamic. It's either you are beyond me or I am beyond you. So therefore, this has to be studied, and he's saying it not from a despair, not from the sense of rejecting the student, because there is no rejection. This is a fact. Sometimes it happens this way. Pujya Swamiji told a story once of how somebody came to him for a few classes and attended 1 or 2 retreats, short ones, weekend retreats, and then went away, and Pujya Swamiji never saw him. Whole family came, and then he never saw them for about 2-3 years. Then they came back, and then of course Pujya Swamiji was delighted to see them. Oh, where have you been? I've not seen you in a long time. Have you been okay? And they said, well, after listening to you, we went to so-and-so, I forgot who it was, and we had been studying with that guru, but after listening to you, we could understand him, and so we are studying with him. Namaha. Okay, no problem. Yeah. Pujya Swamiji did not take it as an affront, because there's nothing to be affronted by. So sometimes it's because the human mind is such that it resonates to certain kinds of, ways of learning. So the upadhi of the teacher becomes important only for this reason, because it inspires certain people in certain places at certain times. And that's all it is. And that's completely accidental, because it has to do with so many things. And that's why we have many upadhis, teachers coming in many forms, with beard, without beard, tall, short, in male bodies, in female bodies, all kinds of, teachers are there. So, therefore, so many kinds of, therefore it is effective. So that just like you have Ishta Devata, you can have Ishta Guru. Yeah, absolutely. That's how it works. You have Ishta Devata in the Hindu tradition, it's wonderful. You can, worship Bhagavan in any form, because everything is Bhagavan. And same thing, if everything being constant, if the knowledge being constant, the gurus are various expressions of the knowledge. And we saw this in Manisha Panchakam. Chandalostu satu dvijostu guruhu iti mama manisha. Esha mama manisha. He says that. So it doesn't matter in which upadhi they come. It is that the individual jivas seeking the knowledge are not able to overcome this upadhi problem sometimes. And sometimes it comes in the way of learning. So if you have already it is difficult to study with a teacher, because all the authority issues come out and play. Yeah, it's like, why do I need a teacher? Why can't I read this by myself? Why can't I get this knowledge by myself? Why wasn't I born enlightened? All these thoughts keep coming. And so to study with a teacher itself is scary. And then on top of that, if the teacher is constantly reminding you of your authority figures in your personal unconscious all the time, then it becomes a deterrent. So therefore what? Shastram patha guror mukhat. Go to a teacher, any teacher. So if this is a Purva Pakshi, then of course directly he is being told to go to a teacher. And if it is a student here, he is also being told to either study or right from the start with the same teacher, or find a teacher that resonates, because obviously there is a problem if after all this time this has not been, you are still wondering whether you exist or not, then you have to go to a teacher. Shrutim patha. Shruti here means Vedanta. Usually Shruti means Veda and Vedanta. Here Shrutim Patha means Vedantam Patha, how directly through the teacher. Don't try to read it because you will not understand it. Okay, Shrutim Patha Guror Mukhat. And then what? We'll be going a little over because one more thing is left. And then he gives another. So he gives a directive, Shrutim Patha. Tadrik means in that form. Vyutpatti Apeksha means if this kind of a comprehension from the beginning is needed, how you are self-evident and how you are confused yourself for something else. If you want in detail, Shrutim Patha Guror Mukhat, start the study of the Shruti right from the start with either this Guru or another Guru of your choice. Okay. Then this is the directive. This is what is called the directive. And then the other one, the last verse, here is a technique. He feels sad for the student and he says, let's go back and study a little technique. Let us reiterate and underscore the technique that has been highlighted by the chapter. And being the last verse of the chapter, this is also serves as a summation of what has been taught. Yadi sarvagraha tyagaha ashakyaha. Supposing in verse number 24, it said sarvagraha upasamshantau swayameva avashishyate. All this grasping has to stop. But the student says, I can't stop grasping. I'm still grasping. You're grasping at straws, but at least I'm grasping at straws. So let me continue to grasp. Okay, so if you're unable to let go, this is for people, everybody is secretly feeling happy because this is speaking to us. Yeah, we are unable to let go. Oh, this is for people unable to let go. Oh, let me pay attention. Yadi sarvagraha tyagaha ashakyaha. Ashakyaha means, you are unable to, incapable, incapable of letting go of grasping the Atma, trying to grasp at the Atma as an object. Then what? Tarhi, in that case, Dhyam Sharanam Vraja. We have Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Here, Buddhim Sharanam Gacchami. Go take refuge. Where? In your buddhi. Buddhi here is manaha. In the mind, in the buddhi, take refuge. Take refuge in the mind, meaning go back to the fact that it is a cognitive quest. Not that you have to do something to bring the Atma and to tie it, like you tied the cow. No. It is you. And if you can't understand this by letting go, I'll give you another upaya. And what is the upaya? He doesn't mention it, but we have to go back to the imagery, which is why the chapter is named Nataka Deepaha. So the theatre lamp. So the lamp in the amphitheatre, not one of those little spotlights we have going on in the modern theatres. The lamp in the amphitheatre burns brightly, illumining the dancer, which is what? Everything that moves in the mati. Everything that, all the moving aspects of the buddhi and the mind are also illumined, and the stationary aspects are also illumined. And the one who is feeling proud, the Prabhu, the king who is feeling proud that I have brought this show into town, the king, the Ahankara is also illumined. And the Vishayas are what? The object of the senses. They are illumined in the form of the audience. They are illumined. And then the sense organs are the various accompanists, the vocalist, etc., because they try to please the sense objects. And the dancer, the buddhi, is led by the sense organs very beautifully. The rhythm is kept, pace is kept by the sense organs and everything there is to objectify. So the dancer keeps blowing kisses and, getting approval, seeking for approval from the audience. Wants to be showered with flowers and love from the audience. And the audience here is what? Sense objects. So basically, the buddhi without Vedanta is depending upon the sense objects for its well-being, orchestrated by the sense organs who are making it dance in place and dance all over the stage, and the ahankara is applauding this effort and is totally identified with it. So this is the beautiful metaphor we got going. And one thing shown literally in this example, what was that? Natakadipaha, the lamp of the theatre, which was illumining everything while being asanga, uninvolved in the shenanigans of the audience, uninvolved in the shenanigans of the buddhi, uninvolved in the pride of the ahankara or the accompanists clearing their throats. It was uninvolved with everything. It just brought everything to light. And so here it says, Yadi sarvagraha tyagaha ashakyaha tarhi dhiyam sharanam vraja. Your buddhi is your ultimate refuge, because obviously you're not ready for the teaching yet. And then what? Tad adhinaha means depending on that. Adhinaha means depending on that. Tad adhinaha, depending on that. Bahihi antaha vai eshaha anubhuyatam. Eshaha atma, not talked about here. Eshaha atma anubhuyatam. May this atma be experienced by you as everything that the buddhi supports, whether it is internal or external. You see, coming off of this Natakadipa example, we had this whole discussion of what? Aham and idam. Correct? So the aham thought, I thought, and idam thought. What is idam thought? Anything that is outside from the standpoint of the body. All the objects that are, that are not exactly connected to aham are called idam. In other words, that which are objectified by the aham is called idam. What about aham vritti? Anything that is to do with the sakshi pratyaksha. Sakshi pratyaksha not to be confused with sakshi. Anything that was internal from the standpoint of the body. Deha pekshaya. From the standpoint of the body, you had, whatever was within, the thoughts that went on within. I am a doer, I am a thinker. Ikshe, shrinomi, jigrami, swadayami, karomi. All these things. I am a karta, I am a bhokta, I am pramata, I eat, I drink. All these are called aham vrittis, and this is called what? Idam vrittis. And so the teaching ends with a blessing, which is a preparation for the knowledge, for the person, for anyone who finds themselves in a very difficult place of how to let go of the grasping. You don't have to let go of the grasping, catch hold of you want to grasp, no? Yeah, please grasp. Catch hold of the lamp, catch hold of the sakshi. What is signified? What is the dashtanta here? Signified by the lamp is the sakshi. You are that lamp. Catch hold of the sakshi and keep observing the whole show. Enjoy sit back, relax, enjoy the show rather than be part of it. And that itself is a meditation here. Very interesting. So the teaching was given, and if this is not understood, the teaching has to be done over was given, and then a meditation is also given as a blessing at the end, that with the help of this meditation, you will be released, because you will prepare for the knowledge, and whatever you have studied will bless you as long as you keep asanga, like you want to catch, you keep wanting to catch. How to catch I in the form of the sakshi. But then what if I can't let go of the sakshi? Don't worry, it will let go of you. This is what people say, when Arjuna is told in the Bhagavad Gita, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunnyo Bhava Arjuna. Oh Arjuna, the whole world, Veda here means everything that is the object of the Vedas is mired in the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. And in order to not be part of this samsara, you have to identify as Nistraigunnyo Bhava, free of all the gunas. And then people say, after studying partially this verse, they say, how to overcome sattva? Sattva is not your problem. Ah. Sattva is not an issue. Ah. Why are you asking the question how to overcome sattva? Overcome rajas and tamas first. No, but what if sattva becomes addictive? Sattva is your nature. Sattva is another name for your nature. Sattva means godliness. That's it. That's right. So don't think how to get hold of the sattva, get rid of sattva. That's the wrong question. So here, how to get rid of sakshi? No, catch hold of the sakshi. And then everything will resolve as its own, When there is nothing to, no sakshya vastu, when the sakshya vastu is not there, sakshi will automatically resolve as in sleep. There is no sakshi. Only later you say, I slept well. Sakshi comes back later. During the sleep state, sushuptau, there is no sakshi. So therefore, you don't worry about how to let go of the sakshi. No, you just said that you are addicted to catching and grasping things. I am giving you something to grasp. Yeah. Do take this. This is like taking let's say the baby is playing, a small baby is playing with a dangerous object. Then you give it something else to hold and slowly take that sharp object, when it is not looking. Like a knife. It has caught hold of a knife and it's brandishing it. So what do? This is very scary. It may hurt itself. And so you're very worried. So gently, very gently, you give it something to hold and it just drops the knife on its own. It doesn't even care. Just the knife is dropped. So like this, you're catching hold of, you're using the ahankara to catch hold of everything that's not you. Here you turn the ahankara back to the sakshi and let the ahankara ultimately resolve in the sakshi. This is both a meditation, the exercise, and upaya, and also this is the knowledge. This is what we have been studying. So whenever we complete something, we have to do the first verse again. Paramatma Advaita Purnam Swamayaya Swayameva Jagadguru Pravishat Jiva Rupataha. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. If there are any questions, you can tell. You can ask. Yeah, very nice. One more check we can put. After Manisha Panchakam. Yeah, very nice text. Who is the Nartaki? The Buddhi that dances in response to the rhythm of the sense organs, which is geared to pleasing the sense objects. Yeah, that is how Buddhi is the Nartaki. Nartaki Matihi. Mati is the Nartaki. Yeah. You were right. Very nice. Yes. All of you are so wonderful that I'm able to, teach at this level, because otherwise we have to just go with the basics. But since all of you have had exposure to Vedanta, we could take it at a different level. Okay? Yeah. Om Namah Shivaya. See you all tomorrow.